Welcome to episode 280 of the 2-Minute Warning. Today we're looking at Andre Johnson tweeting out to Deshaun Watson and really how much this thing is escalating and really how realistic is it for Deshaun Watson to get traded from the Houston Texans. Andre Johnson, amazing wide receiver, should be a Hall of Famer, best Texans receiver for sure. Very underrated in my opinion. I know he gets a lot of praise, but really he should be there in the great names of Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, etc., etc. I think he has superb talent. And the dude only tweets about 4 times every 3 years. So this tweet, him coming out telling Deshaun Watson to stand his ground. Texans have ruined several careers, and he should stand his ground and possibly demand the trade. It's kind of a big deal. We saw DeAndre Hopkins, star receiver and former Texans receiver, tweet out as well. When Andre Johnson speaks, everybody should listen. So kind of a lot of hype behind this tweet. I think there is a little bit of drama to it, of course. I mean, it's the NFL, and these guys are drama queens in some way, but I truthfully think with Andre Johnson being an all-time Texans player and agreeing and stating that the Houston Texans are a franchise that just ruined great careers, Andre Johnson, like I said, is superb talent, but really his potential might have never been reached, having his best quarterback pretty much be David Carr. I mean, I think he could have gone up a lot further if he had the right quarterback throwing the ball to him for sure. So he's definitely saying the Texans are ruin players' talents, and he doesn't want to see it happen to Deshaun Watson. Therefore, I think this is a big message, and Deshaun Watson is eventually going to demand the trade. Really, where's the most realistic spot for him to look at? I mean, considering the trade, Deshaun Watson on his contract is in a no-trade clause, meaning that whoever the Houston Texans try and trade him to, Deshaun Watson has a final say of yes or no. No, you can't trade me there, or yes, I'll waive my no-trade clause, and yes, I will be there. So he does kind of, in a way, have a say where he wants to go and where he wants to be traded. He already stated and is open to being traded to the Miami Dolphins and said he'd waive his no trade clause there. To me, that's the best position for the Texans' point of view for them to get the most in return. I think they could get Tua Tagovailoa. That way, they're starting with a second-year quarterback at this point who still has potential and could be an amazing star. Maybe he'll go on to be better than Deshaun Watson. I don't see that happening, but the potential is there, and you're not starting from scratch with no quarterback on your team. And you could probably get the 3rd overall pick and 18th overall pick in the first-round draft, 2 first-round picks, and a quarterback to really set your future. I know that doesn't sound like a lot for a top 5 quarterback in the league. I'm sure they'll get a couple 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounders as well, but I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but from the other teams, you're going to just be asking for too much. For the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ben, they don't really have any assets they're going to be willing to trade unless it's Big Ben himself, and something tells me he's not going to go play for the Houston Texans. If he gets traded there, he'll just retire. So in that case, the Steelers would just have to offer 4 or 5 first-round picks because they don't really have many players or assets to offer, and to me, they're not going to fork that up. Niners would be the best spot for Deshaun Watson, possibly. They're in a ready-to-win situation now with Kyle Shanahan and his amazing offensive mind and coaching ability. Definitely a huge upgrade from Jimmy Garoppolo. They went to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they can win several Super Bowls with Deshaun Watson having that lockdown defense. The receivers could use a little help. The receiving core could use a little bit of help in the Niners offseason. But, I mean, really, any receiving core is just as bad or just as good or as an upgrade from what Deshaun Watson has, and pretty much nothing, just Brandon Cooks. So there is potential no matter where he goes. He can't get much worse in his receiving core, but having Kyle Shanahan I think would be so good for Deshaun Watson that it could bump him up to being a Super Bowl winner. Really, what do they have to offer? It'd be a similar situation as the Dolphins. They could offer a first-round pick, next year's first-round pick, and possibly Jimmy Garoppolo. That way, like I said, they're starting with a quarterback that has some talent. They're not starting from scratch. You're not starting with an absolute backup that's not a franchise quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo could be a franchise quarterback still, so he's definitely an option to trade. Maybe we'll trade a defensive guy. I don't know. However, the possibilities are there between San Francisco and Miami. I think that's the most that Houston Texans could get back, and probably the best situation for Deshaun would definitely be the Niners. Dolphins is a close second. And of course, there's other teams like the Falcons. Maybe they'll package Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and a couple first rounds for Deshaun Watson. I don't know. Or the Panthers. Maybe they'll give up Teddy Bridgewater and a couple first rounds as well. There's limitless options, but really, it's not a matter of where he goes. It's a matter of if he actually leaves the Houston Texans. This will shake up the entire NFL. We don't see many times a top 5 quarterback in the league be traded. This would be a blockbuster trade. You got to figure we don't see any blockbuster trades happen very often. The most recent ones is Jamal Adams and Jalen Ramsey, and they each cost 2 first-round picks and a couple more picks as well. And that's really as big as it gets. And you could definitely agree that quarterbacks are much more important than cornerbacks, or quarterbacks are important position on your NFL team. So, I mean, if this trade happens, like I said, it's very rare it happens. The last big QB trade that happened was probably, I'm not sure the exact date, probably 7-8 years ago when Nick Foles and Sam Bradford were traded between the Eagles and Rams. And even then, those guys aren't even in the league starting right now, so clearly it wasn't that big of a blockbuster. This Deshaun Watson thing doesn't happen in the NFL very often, and it's going to be awesome to see. It's just going to be as big as Tom Brady signing somewhere other than the New England Patriots. This will completely change the team he goes to and the Houston Texans, the team he leaves, forever. I'm rooting for Deshaun Watson. I'm not a huge fan of the Houston Texans. You guys know Carson is. But me, I'm not a Houston Texans fan. I do like Deshaun, so I'm going to be pretty much rooting for him anywhere he goes unless he's playing against my team. I hope he has a great future. I think this Andre Johnson tweet is definitely going to solidify him demanding a trade along with DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson's former teammate and good friend, agreeing with Andre Johnson. This is big. I think he's going to demand the trade. I'm hoping for the Niners or the Miami Dolphins just because that'd be best for both situations, the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. But anything can happen. Maybe he'll stay with the Texans. They refuse to trade him, but he sits out. It's going to be really interesting to see as the season ends and as the 2021 season picks up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Where do you think Deshaun Watson will go? Any other videos you want to see? 2 in the morning.